How'd you like to hear a television ad that really makes sense?
Hey, that'd be nice.
And save you money?
We're listening.
There are over 886 new Chevrolets at your favorite Kentuckiana Chevrolet dealer that were received before the recent price raise. You can buy a Chevrolet for less now than if you wait, so get yours before they're all gone. Imagine the exact same car for hundreds less, hundreds that you could spend on something else. New Chevrolets will never sell for less. See your favorite Kentuckiana Chevrolet dealer tomorrow and get your new Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm horticulturist Neil Sperry. I've been using this weed popper, and let me tell you, it really works. For years, we've tried to get rid of weeds by pulling and a lot of hand digging. Well, that's the tough way. The weed popper is the easy way. It pops out weeds like crabgrass, Dallas grass, and dandelions by their roots. I'm proud to recommend this quality-built tool. Get your weed popper today at any of these fine stores.
Available at Taylor Drug Stores, Auto Drug Stores, Haig Drug, and Better Hardware Stores.
I'm Mario Andretti, and take it from one driver to another. If you're having transmission problems, see Precision Transmissions. They do what I do. They road test the car. They have skilled mechanics to fix your car, and you don't have to wait days and months for replacement parts.
That's right, Mario. And we explain to you in detail exactly what's wrong with your car and give you an estimate you can depend on.
So see Precision Transmission, because precision work is what you get.
2 locations, 5112 Dixie Highway and 5318 Preston Highway.
Boland Maloney Lumber, the home improvement experts on Main Street and Collins Lane.
If you run away from home and you're under 18, you can be locked up. Shelter House for Runaways is a place to go. Shelter House is a place to go if you need food, a bed, a listening ear, and a helping hand. The YMCA Shelter House for Runaways is open 24 hours a day. Call 635-5233.
She was a young mother with a successful career, a circle of friends, raising her daughter alone in an atmosphere of trust and love, till suddenly they found themselves on the brink of tragedy, and only one man could save them. The Exorcist, Saturday.
This is CBS.
The following Action 11 repeat, recorded earlier this evening, is being presented at this time as a public affairs service for our viewers who may have been unable to view the first telecast. Following tonight's videotape repeat, WHAS will present an update.
Tonight, Action 11 is sponsored in part by the many neighborhood offices of Greater Louisville First Federal Savings and Loan Association.
I'm Kirsty Wild.
And I'm Jim Mitchell. Police on both sides of the river tonight are waiting for the return of Everett Leroy Eldridge of Jeffersonville. He's the man charged today with having sex with young boys and promoting prostitution. Very little is known about Eldridge. Action 11's Mark Pfeiffer found that he apparently kept to himself.
52-year-old Everett Eldridge lives here in the Lafayette Square Apartments on East 10th Street in Jeffersonville, Indiana. It was here that police from Louisville and Jeffersonville say they observed him for a week, bringing young boys, teenage prostitutes, across the river from Louisville. One neighbor described Eldridge as a short, stubby man and had seen him with young boys coming to and from his ground floor apartment. She assumed they were his grandchildren. Eldridge is a grandfather. He's been divorced for 7 years. The apartment manager said tonight Eldridge paid his rent on time and never caused any trouble.
As I've known the man for the past 2 years, known him to be a perfect gentleman, and never of anything wrong. And I would still think the same thing. I don't see any reason why not to.
Did this surprise you that he was charged with child molestation?
Indeed it did. Indeed it did. It not only surprised me, I still can't believe it.
Eldridge works here at the McKay Engraving Company on East Bloom Street. He is the night superintendent on the 4 to midnight shift. His employer and his co-workers refuse to talk with us about him. Jeffersonville police are ready to serve a warrant on Eldridge, charging him with 2 counts of child molesting, 1 count of promoting prostitution, and 1 count of patronizing a prostitute. Police believe Eldridge is in Florida tonight and say they'll arrest him when he returns. If he doesn't come home, they say, they'll call on the FBI to track him down. Mark Pfeiffer, Action 11 in Jeffersonville.
Only one Fern Creek Middle School student will go on trial for molesting girls. 6 boys, 3 black and 3 white, were accused of touching and threatening several girl students at Fern Creek Middle School. The boys went to juvenile court today. Cases were dismissed for 2 of the white students and 1 of the black students. 1 white and 1 black student were told to stay out of trouble. The last one, who is black, goes on trial in a few weeks. Since juvenile court is held in secret, we don't know why only 1 boy was singled out. Aubrey Williams, who defended the black students, claims that the entire episode was racially motivated.
This kind of thing happens when racist or evil forces are at work in our society and will use children, young people, to exhibit their racism.
But Fern Creek parents insist it's a moral, not a racial issue.
I hope that this will let other people and other parents and other students, I hope this is a warning to all of them, and we can get justice served here so that other students, parents, and teachers don't have to go through this.
I'm glad that they got this thing taken care of. It had me upset and everything because they weren't doing anything about it at school, and they finally got it taken care of, and I feel what they did was right.
And the parents say that the other boys were treated fairly. The decision to close a school for emotionally disturbed children in eastern Jefferson County is being reconsidered tonight. State Human Resources Director Grady Stumbo has said that the Jewel Manor Treatment Center would close its doors May 29th because $600,000 it takes to run the school has been cut from the DHR budget. But Action 11's Mark Wyatt reports that the center may get a reprieve.
Ben and Suzanne Kelly say if Jewel Manor closes, there's nowhere else their son can get the kind of attention he needs. 7-year-old Brian Kelly is hyperactive. He was referred to Jewel Manor last year because of behavioral problems he had in a county school. Now his parents fear he may not have anywhere to go.
There's absolutely no way that he can be moved out of Jewel Manor right now and be expected, to perform in society.
Suzanne Kelly and parents of some of Jewel Manor's 48 other students went to Frankfort today to plead for the center with DHR Chief Grady Stumbo.
I am satisfied that Mr. Stumbo would do what he said he would, which is to reconsider the cut of the program. It was a closed book case, and he said he would reopen it and reconsider it. And he came across as a genuinely warm human being.
The Kellys say they're encouraged. Stumbo says he'll reconsider closing Jewel Manor, but they say also they realize the pressure he's under. Word on whether Jewel Manor will be allowed to remain open should be known in the next day or two. Mark Wyatt, Action 11 in eastern Jefferson County.
The prosecutor in the murder trial of George Nugent says he will produce 3 witnesses to testify on cocaine traffic in the East End. He is not naming names yet, but he says some people will be surprised. Nugent is charged with murdering Corky Kelly last September after a drug deal fell through, according to the prosecution. Today's testimony focused on the discovery of Kelly's body on Nugent's Sand Company property. The drug deal witnesses could appear on Friday. President Reagan tonight said the death of Teamsters Union President Frank Fitzsimmons is a sad moment for the nation. Fitzsimmons died of cancer this morning in a California hospital. He was 73 years old. He spent almost 50 years in the Teamsters Union and came to power on the coattails of his friend Jimmy Hoffa. Fitzsimmons took over the nation's largest union when Hoffa went to prison in 1967. In 1971, President Richard Nixon pardoned Hoffa, but Fitzsimmons stayed in power because Hoffa was barred from any union activity. Fitzsimmons always denied knowing anything about Hoffa's disappearance in 1976. The new president of the Teamsters is expected to be 66-year-old Roy Williams, a union leader in Kansas. The Teamsters convention is next month in Las Vegas.
When Action 11 continues, an investigation of a military plane crash in Maryland.
And Britain faces violence tonight, prepares for more tomorrow with Bobby Sands' funeral.
When we at Greater Louisville First Federal Savings and Loan Association talk to you about saving with us, Perhaps we don't dwell enough on the safety of that investment. Money deposited with Greater Louisville is a safe investment for two reasons. First of all, it's a guaranteed investment. It will pay a fixed rate regardless of economic factors. The rate you receive is also the highest rate the law allows any federally insured financial institution to pay, including your bank. And unlike some other investments, it is now insured to $100,000 by the Federal Savings and Loan Insurance Corporation. You get the highest rate the law allows a federally insured financial institution to pay, and your money is now insured to $100,000. Isn't that what you'd expect from your friends? This portion of Action 11 has been brought to you by Kentucky's largest savings and loan association, the neighborhood offices of Greater Louisville First Federal Savings.
2 prescriptions for the same antibiotic from a famous name pharmaceutical company. Exactly alike in every way, except that one came from a careful neighborhood registered pharmacist. The other came from a careful Kmart registered pharmacist. The pharmaceuticals are the same. The care is the same. The quality is the same. But at a Kmart family pharmacy, the Kmart price gives you an extra reason to smile. Kmart, your family pharmacy.
Just when you thought Seiko had done it all, Seiko creates new wonders. Dual display alarm chronographs with day and date. Water-resistant alarm chronographs with single button control for each function. Solar alarm chronographs with batteries recharged by the sun. And Seiko's first alarm countdown timer for women. Will Seiko wonders never cease? See them when you see this sign.
Available at Bacon's Fine Jewelry.
The Pentagon is still not saying what caused a military jet to crash in Maryland today, killing all 21 people on board. The plane seemed to explode in midair, sending bodies, debris, and classified military documents over a wide area. The Air Force said that the jet was carrying sophisticated radar, secret papers, and missile tracking equipment. They asked anyone who finds any of the documents to turn them into police. The crash was so violent that 8 of the victims are still missing tonight.
I heard this. Oh, man, I don't know how you describe the noise. So I run out and run up top the hill, and I seen it, and all I could see was just smoke, fire flying out. And so we jumped in the truck and ran out there. And the time we got out there, it was still coming down out of the sky, you know, and, man, bodies, oh, it's awful.
The $50 million military jet was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio.
All Libyan diplomats in Washington are being kicked out. The Reagan administration says Libya is supporting international terrorism. The State Department used general terms to describe what goes on at the Libyan embassy, a pattern of unacceptable conduct. Sources say that means Libyans in this country have tried to kill opponents of their president, Colonel Gaddafi, and start revolutions in Africa and elsewhere. Their chief diplomat denies all that.
We don't deny being a revolutionary. We're proud to be a revolutionary. But we don't export revolution.
Libya supplies about 10% of our imported oil. The U.S. says it spends much of its oil money on Soviet weapons and gives the guns to terrorists and guerrillas. 600 British troops were flown into Northern Ireland tonight to battle increasing violence there. Angry crowds threw gasoline bombs and rocks at police. A Belfast policeman was killed by a sniper. The demonstrations intensified on this night before the funeral of Bobby Sands, the Irish Republican Army member who starved himself to death in a British prison. Police in Belfast and Londonderry set up street barricades to slow down any soldiers who might come into neighborhoods. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 mourners joined the funeral procession for Bobby Sands. Another IRA hunger striker, Francis Hughes, is now in his 53rd day without food and reported near death.
Congress is arguing the value of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, trying to decide if it should be extended. Civil rights and labor leaders say it definitely should be extended. Conservative congressmen say that it's not necessary. Back in 1964, before the Voting Rights Act, few black citizens in Alabama, Louisiana, or Mississippi were registered to vote. Now, at least 3 times as many blacks are registered. Leaders like Vernon Jordan say that without the government watching out for the rights of minorities, that they would have to rely on uncivil